السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أنا الدكتورة رنا فارق السعود،
طبيبة اختصاص حاصلة على شهادة البورد العالي في طب المجتمع والصحة العامة وتدريسية في كلية الطب للجامعة العراقية. Welcome everybody. Our lecture today will be on nutrition under the microscope, tools and technique in medical assessment. General objective will be to enable medical students to understand and apply comprehensive method of nutritional assessment, which include anthropometric, biochemical, clinical, and dietary approach for the purpose of diagnosing and managing malnutrition in clinical practice. At the end of the lecture, students will be able to understand the component of nutritional assessment, interpret key anthropometric measurements like BMI, waist circumference, recognize clinical signs and symptoms associated with malnutrition, evaluate dietary intake using methods like 24-hour recall and food diaries, and finally, develop basic nutritional intervention plans based on assessment finding to improve patient health outcomes. Method used in our lecture is brainstorming, video, activities, and tasks. We use a laptop, data show, and internet. And finally, our references from WHO, Ministry of Health Mission, Research Institute, and the Krauss for Food and Nutrition Care Process. فوزيت العقل السليم الجسم السليم. فبالتالي بعد أكملت سامي شوكي بنتغير زمادي للزتمة. قال العقل السليم في الجسم السليم هو الشاعر والفيلسوف الروماني جونينار الذي عاش في القرن الميلادي الأول وقالها اللاتينية mens sana incorpore sani. كان يقصد بيلا أن رأي الإنسان اللي يتوجه إلى الله أن يرتاح العقل السليم في الجسم السليم، لا أن يطلب الثروات أو القوة. هذه العبارة تستخدم لحد الآن لكن بمعنى مختلف قليلا، وهو أن الحفاظ على الجسم السليم يساهم في صحة العقل السليم، وهذا ما اتفق عليه الطب الحي والتربية البدنية. What is the health? Health is a state of a complete physical, mental, social well-being, not merely absence of the disease or infection. So, one of the components of the definition of health is the physical health, which defined by regular physical activity, good nutrition, and adequate rest. So, the nutrition is one of the physical component of the health. Maintenance of optimal health require adequate level of essential nutrients. Nutritional disorder result from imbalance between body requirement for nutrients and energy and the supply of this substrate of metabolism, either deficiency or excess. The risk of clinical complication can be minimized and the loss of the nutrient can be prevented or reserved by the nutritional year. So the nutritional assessment is the evaluation of the nutritional state. Health condition of an individual is influenced by food consumption and utilization of the nutrient, and it also essential for diagnosis of different diseases. Now, we see this deal.
Public health and nutrition. Until the middle of the 20th century, the major cause of death was infectious disease. With the progress of medicine, infectious diseases are now almost eradicated in developed countries. Longer lifespans and an aging population have seen the emergence of chronic and degenerative diseases such as diabetes, vascular disease, and osteoporosis. Those diseases are linked to both genetic predisposition and environmental factors such as lifestyle and diet. Among the environmental factors, food plays an important role. Hence, from a public health point of view, ensuring an optimal food intake in quantity and quality contributes to the prevention of some of the most deadly and costly diseases. Scientific studies are a requirement of every type of population. Based on those studies, public health agencies publish recommendations in each for every nutrient. Public health plans differ depending upon the countries and populations considered. If there is not enough food, disease marasmus develop. Conversely, if there is too much food, obesity develops. Implementing those recommendations is not straightforward. There are some critical times of life when it is important to ensure an optimal nutrition. For example, nutrition has lifelong consequences on weight management and allergies. Also, the impact of most nutritional interventions is not immediate. Nutrition has to be considered all of life, and early age nutrition can have a great effect on aging. As an example, a deficiency in calcium and vitamin D during childhood and adolescence leads to osteoporosis dozens of years later. Beyond the physiological aspect of the recommendations, which is to fulfill the bodily requirements, there is a behavioral question. Indeed, now that the requirements are well defined, the challenge for public health actors is to improve the eating behavior of the population. National communication programs promoting the consumption of fruits and vegetables or encouraging physical activity are a good example of public health actions to improve the behavior of a population.
شنو كان هيك الفيديو عن شنو؟ منو يقدر يلخص لنا فد شيء سمبل؟
الأمراض هي نتيجة interaction بين environmental factors و genetic factors.
تمام دكتور. أحد عنده إضافة؟
الهيومن هو أحد الأسباب في الديزيز يعني هو يتدخل في الديزيز في نفس الوقت هو يصنع الدرجز والميديسين فور بيبل.
النيوتريشن يعني يكون بالانس بالنيوترينت تقول هيك اوبسيتي.
يمكن تحكي بداية الفيديو إنه شلون بالبداية كانت المشكلة الأزلية هي الانفكشيوس ديزيز وشلون إحنا قضينا عليها بالفاكسين. وراها ظهرت عندنا مشكلة أخرى هي الكرونيك ديزيز اللي هي الكرونيك هارت ديزيز، دايابيتس، اوستيوبروسيس. واحد من أسبابها هو الأوبيسيتي اللي هي تعتبر behavioral. فإحنا شلون نقدر إنه نسيطر على الأوبيسيتي؟ طبعا هو ذاكر في الاستراتيجيز فور بريفنشن هذا الفيديو يتعلق بالاساينمنت اللي انا خليت لكم اياها في نهايه الفيديو تقدرون يعني تاخذون من عليها معلومات وتحلون الاساينمنت. تمام؟ سو هسه عرفنا شنو هي الهيلث وشنو هي الفيزيكال وشنو هي النيوتريشن.
How to assess the nutritional status? We have A, B, C, D. A is the anthropometric measurement. B is the biochemical assessment. C is the clinical assessment. And finally, D, it is the inventory assessment. First of all is the methopometric measurement. It is the simplest and most quantitative measure of nutritional status. Its uses is for monitoring of normal growth, detecting nutritional health in well-nourished, and also for detection of nutritional inadequacy or excess. Use measurement as we see there: weight, length or height, skin fold thickness, mid-upper arm circumference, waist circumference, waist hip ratio. Now we have group activity. You are divided in two subgroups, Group A and Group B. Okay? Group A will identify 3 advantages of anthropometric measurement. And Group B will identify 3 disadvantages of anthropometric measurement. Then, each group will present their findings and discuss overlap and differences.
دكتورة داليا أنت راح تكونين ليدر مال جروب A ودكتور عبد الغني ليدر أوف جروب B. تمام. عندنا 3 دقائق. تكتبون أسماء الجروب على الورقة وتكتبوها وبعدين نتناقش فيها. Tamam, finished? Okay, group A. What is the 3 disadvantages of anthropometric measurements?
Simple, non-invasive, and easy to come.
Okay, it's simple. Tools is available for measurement, and it is not invasive, and it is final what?
It is
Easy to perform. Okay? Group B.
Disadvantage, not differentiate between feet and muscles. Does not reflect the age 6.
Ethical.
ignore fat distribution.
Ignore fat distribution. وهسه راح نيجي نتعرف عليها وحدة وحدة. Body weight, it is a convenient and useful indicator of the nutritional status. Weight should be measured by using liver balance type of scale. هذا السكيل اللي بنشوفه هو للأدلت وهذا السكيل هو للإنفانت and toddler less than 2 years. But if the patient has edema at the time of weighing, the weight may be falsely high. تمام. Second one is the length and height. In infants and toddlers of less than 2 years, the length is measured in supine position with a fixed headboard and sliding foot board. يمكن أكثر يعني نشوفها هذه بالمراكز الصحية بالبرايمري هيلث كير شلون يقيسون الطول للإنفانت وللتودلر. حتى مرات يجينا طفل عمره 4 سنوات لكن he can't walk أو ما يقدر يمشي، فإحنا نستخدم نفس الطريقة حتى نقيس فيها الطول مالته. In older children and adults, height is measured by using a horizontal arm that moves vertically on a calibrated scale.
The patient should be without shoes, heels together against a separate surface with the head level and in a left position. So now, this is the individual activity. Every one of you will do it. Cause open. حيصيدكم أوراق كل واحد يكتب اسمه على الورقة. اسم جنرال نوتوس. لا A hypothetical person weighs 75 kg and is 1.7 liter tall. Calculates body mass index. Now, according to the World Health Organization, classification identify which category this person fall into. Is overweight, underweight, or normal weight, or maybe he's obese. You have 2 minutes. I just want to know your information about EMR. You update it.
تفضل.
تو أساميكم أنا الأوراق مكملين عسل. شكرا. هسه خلونا نجي نعرف شنو هي BMI. It is the ratio of weight in kilogram with minimal clothing to the height without shoes in meter square. It is for both male and female. The degree of obesity is classified when it is less than 18.5, the person is underweight. Between 18.5 to 24.9 is normal weight. From 25 to 29.9, overweight. From 30 to 39.9, person is obese. And equal or more than 30, it is excessive obesity. So, what is the separate and the limitation of the BMI? I think it's like the advantage and disadvantages of the anthropometric measurement. The separate is its simplicity and cost-effectiveness. It is widely used and standard by WHO and CDC. It's correlated with health risks, bad diabetes, hypertension. It's useful for screening for overnutrition, undernutrition, overweight, underweight. Its limitation does not differentiate between fat and muscle. Sometimes we see a patient, muscular person, you say that he is overweight or he is obese because we depend on the BMI, that it is the muscle mass, not overweight. Ignore fat distribution. We didn't know where the fat distributed. Abdominal fat, another part, does not reflect age, sex, ethnic differences. Also limited use in a clinical diagnosis because we need another diagnosis to do to have the diagnosis. Also, we have the skin fold thickness, the skin fold thickness of 2 layers of subcutaneous part without muscle or tender. It is measured by caliber Manch's skin fold caliber. It is either for biceps, triceps, suprailiac, or subscapula. The head circumference, it is a good index of brain growth, usually used for infants and children, for screening of microcephaly, macrocephaly, and it is a standard procedure in pediatric practice. Also, we have the mid-upper arm circumference. It can serve as a general index of the nutritional status. Why? Because it reflects both caloric adequacy and the muscle mass. It is measured at the midpoint of the left upper arm by a fiberglass flexible tip. This value is compared with a reference graph available for both sex and age. Also, we have the waist circumference. It is the simple anthropometric measure used to assess abdominal fat distribution. It helps to identify the central obesity, measured at the midpoints between the lower margin of the last palpable rib and the top of the iliac crest. Threshold vary by the population, but the common use cutoff when it is more than 102 for men and more than 88 for women is indicate increases the risk. Now we have a motivational question. Who's ready to volunteer now to measure their waist circumference in front of the class so we can practice the correct technique together? And also this is a great opportunity to apply clinical skill that use daily to assess the risk of
of chronic disease such as diabetes and cardiovascular disease. منو يتبرع عنا ويصير فولنتير؟ تفضل دكتور. خلينا نشوف الطريقة الصحيحة حتى نقيس بها الويست
قلنا الميد بوينت بين الإليك كريست المفروض تحددها يعني،
نعم.
وبين اللور بالبابل
بالبابل
سنتيمتر. بس خلينا نقول هذا الإليك كريست وهذا اللور بالبابل.
الميد بوينت بيناتهم راح تكون
مرات هي الانبلاك على
مرات على الليفل اوف
لا
امبلايكس.
دكتور
شو تقولون؟ احنا ايش قلنا؟
زين بالنسبة للشباب.
أكثر من 102 يعتبر indicating a health risk.
حاشك إلى
Nutritional disease.
And finally, we have waist to hip ratio. Waist to hip circumference can identify both types of obesity. When the ratio is 0.7, it's considered normal, while when it is less than 0.7, there is an abnormal obesity. And when the ratio is more than 0.7, it indicates upper body obesity. Here. شاشة واضحة؟ كل شيء تمام، صوت واضح، محاضرة أوكي؟ أثناء Nutritional Assessment أننا نتوقع إلى DCD. فالأي كما تلنفرو مدرك مجمع تعرف من شيء كل ما يتعلق بالأي. بس خلونا نشوف الكلينيكال ايفالويشن اللي هي السي اللي احنا ليش حطينا هذا للبايوكيميكال؟ لأن كدكتورز أو نيجينا البيشنت راح نشوف شنو راح نسوي له قبل ما ندزله للبايوكيميكال assessment. General malnutrition results from either primary factor, which is deficit in the dietary intake and inert from the dietary history, or secondary factor, defect in the nutrient utilization, which is known by the clinical history. Many of clinical signs and symptoms of malnutrition appear later, after weeks or months. Sometimes there is a subclinical or marginal malnutrition, but still, the clinical examination provides overall impression of the nutritional health. خلونا نشوف هسه احنا ايش راح نسوي للبيشنت بالكلينيك ايفالويشن. كل شيء راح نفهم من عند الميديكال history. Like history in a chronic illness, weight loss, weight gain, physician can detect nutritional problem or assess the likelihood developing nutritional defect in the future. Stroke family, like stroke family history of heart disease, we will check the serum lipid level and encourage the patient to decrease their body weight. After medical examination, we do physical examination. The physician looks for the physical sign and symptom from the nutritional point of view. يشوفون هاي الصور مرات أول بيجينا البيشنت نبس نباوع على إيده أو نباوع على رجله احنا نعرف أكو فد nutritional problem. لكن this is require confirmation by biochemical tests and the dietary data. Now, have individual activity by the vocal file. He can do it. You have 2 minutes.
Yes.
Okay?
Stop that.
Lab assessment or biochemical assessment, it can identify specific nutritional-related abnormalities like iron deficiency anemia, protein deficiency. Biochemical kits to provide the first indication of the nutritional abnormality, even before the electrophoremetric changes occur. In marasmus patient where there is a killer debrief, we see normal serum protein. In kwashiorkor patient, when protein debrief decrease in serum protein with normal middle upper arm circumference. And finally, we assess the dietary. Describe the dietary intake background, which help to explain any observed clinical or biochemical abnormalities. We have two types of dietary assessment. First of one, 24-hour big hole. It is one of the most common features of the dietary assessment. Its advantage, it is easy and require little effort from the patient to recall the intellect. أقول للpatient أنت سجلي يومك شنو اللي تكتبه. Disadvantages, consumption in a single 24-hour period may be not representative of the current weekly or monthly intake. Okay, maybe it is inaccurate data due to faulty memory, quantitative error in assessing how much has been eaten. Second one, we have 1 week dietary record. All food and beverages ingested recorded with approximate quantities and actual time of consumption. Its advantage, it is more accurate and used for consumption pattern, which allow the medical professional to identify either there's efficiency, imbalance, or excess of the nutrient intake. Our lecture today is finished, but we have an assignment. So, the submission deadline is Wednesday, 25 of June, 2020 at 10 p.m. This assignment is select a pick of your friends or relatives and measure their BMI. They determine the ideal body weight for each of them based on health standard. For those who are underweight or overweight, develop a treatment plan, including appropriate intervention to improve their BMI in alignment with the global care guideline.
طبعا تسليم المهام راح يكون على هذا الكلاس روم اللي خلت لكم الأول مادة يفضل. عرفتوا الموعد مالتها تمام؟ Thank you very much. Any question?
نفسي عادة بتحسب الأعمال بس يعني ما دائما نقدر نحس شلون يعني انت حكيت لنا قلت لنا انه الماسكولار راح يعطينا رونجري
محتاجين also تنطبق wrong reading for
يعني ما شلون يعني
احنا عندنا بالPMI اكو شارتات خاصة بالبرايمري هيلث كير تبين بكل ترايمستر ايش قد المفروض البريجننت تكتسب ويت يعني بالفيرست ترايمستر ايش قد تكتسب ويت والتوتال ويت اللي تتحصل بريجننت هو من 10 إلى 12 كيجي فوق الوزن الطبيعي. هذا يعتبر طبيعي للبيبي، لكن إذا كان أكثر هاي معناها عندها زيادة بالBMI. طبعا بنفس الوقت البريجننسي هو مو time to decrease the weight. بس اوكي حتى لو كان عندها BMI عالي احنا نتركها الى ان تكمل البريجننسي مالتها وبعدين نسوي لها weight reduction. تمام. Another question?
Obesity in a relationship with the diabetes or hypertension, yeah. A relationship with the obesity or morbid obesity with the diabetes or hypertension.
تمام. المحاضرة الجاية إن شاء الله راح تكون عن الأوبيسيتي اللي راح ناخذها وراح نشوف حسب الإبيديميك إيش قد الدايابيتس يزيد تقريبا 2.9 فولد بالبيرسون الأوبيس يزيد عن النورمال ويت بيرسون بالنسبة للأوبيسيتي، وكذلك للهايبرتنشن راح يزيد. الهارت ديزيز تعتبر first complication في العراق بالنسبة للأوبيسيتي. شكرا جزيلا. طبعا
أكو بالنسبة للبودي ماس اندكس أكو علاقة بالنسبة للإيج يعني مثلا الريج هذا نورمال هذا يعني أندر ويت أوفر ويت.
نعم.
يعني الإيج يدخل من الموضوع إنه ولا علاقة فقط الويت.
طبعا يعني بالنسبة للBMI هي محددة لأن أنا إذا تلاحظون ذكرت لكم بالمحاضرة هي 4 6 and age هي ثابتة. لذلك إحنا قلنا من الليميتيشن مالت الBMI إذا تذكرون بالمحاضرة الليميتيشن كانت إنه هي ما تاخذ الإيج والجندر والإثنيسيتي بنظر الاعتبار، فهذا الجاي راح يأثر عليها. هي ثابتة، لكن أكو another measurement إحنا نقدر نسويها حتى نعرف من خلالها نفرق بين الإيج والسكس. وأكو أيضا شارتر خاصة بالبرايمري هيلث كير، كل شارت بالنسبة للإيج ونشوف فيه إيش اللي بيصير فيه تغيير. تمام. فعندنا سؤال خاشتين شو الجزئيات هذا.
بالنسبة للأساينمنت يعني الأساينمنت يعني مثلا آخر مرة شو يعني مثلا
يوم 25/6 يعني تقريبا إنه هذا
توضيح شوي عن الأساينمنت يعني مثلا
يعني تاخذون 3 من أصدقائكم من أقاربكم، هذول الثلاثة تقيسوا لهم البي ام اي وتشوفون البي ام اي هو اوفر ويت لو اندر ويت، اوفر ويت او اندر ويت، وتشوفون اذا كان عنده فد مشكله بالنيوتريشن احنا شلون راح يعني نسوي له فد بلان حتى نرجعه للوزن الطبيعي، وطبعا من ضمن الجايد لاين مالت الببليك هيلث. شكرا جزيلا.